All right, let's get it to the AFC South quarterbacks. Who has the most to prove? I'll rattle through them. You've got Cam Ward / Will Levis in Tennessee. You've got, of course, CJ Stroud in Houston. And then you've got Anthony Richardson / Daniel Jones. I'll say more Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. But which one of those, and of course, Trevor Lawrence here in Jacksonville, which one of those has the most to prove? Me, I'll start with you.
Well,
You could argue them all.
I did think, and Taylor, you missed our conversation with John Burton of News Channel 5 up in Nashville last week. He brought up the great point of, what are the Titans even going to get for Will Levis? A, at this point, but B, unless a quarterback in another market goes down, you have to basically keep him as competition for Cam Ward because you're not going to get anything for it and you're on the books. And yes, he was the second pick of the second round, so it's not a lucrative first-round quarterback contract, but at the same time, like, it's a fascinating conversation piece of who has the most to prove, because I think if you ask Will Levis, he probably thinks that it's a competition, much like Gardner Minshew once upon a time.
I feel like if if a quarterback went down and your option was Will Levis or trying to go after like a Mac Jones from the 49ers, the backup there, I feel like an NFL team, Taylor wouldn't, but I feel like most NFL teams would rather have Mac Jones with all that experience and at least some success than Will Levis.
Kirk
So I don't
Cousins
even think
is also out there.
Yeah, I don't even think Will Levis, even if a quarterback goes down, even if 3 quarterbacks go down, I still don't think Will Levis.
Because I led the interview with John last week, in case you guys missed it. Like, I led it by saying, like, okay, how soon till Will's traded? And he was like, what are you going to get for him?
Yeah. Like, who wants
him?
Besides the mayonnaise people.
Right, exactly.
The Bears only got a 6th for Justin Fields, and he did a lot more than Will Levis. So.
Exactly. So that's why I would tell you right off the bat that I think Will Levis would tell you he has a lot to prove and that he believes it's a true competition.
Absolutely.
The answer has to be the Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones conversation, because that is the true competition in the division right now. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence and CJ Stroud have something to prove to the national consensus, but in terms of proving to yourself and proving to your organization, beginning at the grassroots level, it is undoubtedly AR, who was selected 4th overall, or Danny Dimes, who wants to prove, hey, look at what Sam Darnold did up in Minnesota last year. I was there for a couple months. I learned at the foot of Kevin O'Connell, and now I will bring that to Indianapolis, and I will win this competition and prove the league wrong. Again, national consensus, but also the grassroots level.
What if Cam Ward can't beat out Will Levis?
But then they have a big problem.
No, but see, here's the thing. Just like I think,
I'm not saying he's the most to prove necessarily, but you got to win that job, don't you?
Right, but here's the thing. Just like Brian Callahan has earned a longer leash, I believe, by virtue of selecting a quarterback 1st overall and now having his guy and having, at least in my estimation, this year and next year to figure it out with his guy. He could just say, well, it's okay. We want to slow roll it. We want to ease him in, and we've got time. We don't want to be the Indianapolis Colts, who forced Anthony Richardson into the spotlight, even if he earned it, week 1 of the 2023 season. Almost immediately gets hurt. The miscues are everywhere. He misses the second half of the season, if not more than that. And so I think that if you're the Titans, you could spin that, and you could get around it. Chris Ballard is not getting around if Anthony Richardson loses a quarterback competition to Daniel Jones and then Daniel Jones stinks on ice.
Yeah, for me, I think the question goes of what you think the most to prove means, because I think that if you go the side, which I could go the side of Anthony Richardson and say you have to prove, number one, you can stay healthy, because you haven't been able to do that in your college career and now your NFL career, and you had 8 touchdowns and 12 interceptions last year in 11 games. So I think that being healthy, being able to actually stay on the football field,
don't tap out.
Don't say you're tired. And just seeing improvement. I don't know how high the expectations are for him. Like, I think that if Anthony Richardson threw 19 touchdowns and 6 picks, they would be like, okay, like that.
It's progress.
And especially if he made it through the season. I think they would say, okay, like, this is progress. There's a lot of things that needed fixing in this organization in general. Anthony Richardson coming off back-to-back years with injuries and a lot of stuff kind of happening. That's moving in the right direction. And so I don't think that the standards are too incredibly high for Anthony Richardson to meet, but I do think that if he doesn't meet something similar to that, then there are going to be massive conversations about him at the end of the year. Now, or halfway through the year, do they throw Daniel Jones in there if Anthony Richardson has 2 touchdowns and 9 picks in the first 6 games? Quite possible. And so I do think that it just kind of matters on your expectations, but I can make the argument for Trevor Lawrence, because I think that Trevor is going into year 5. You now are running out of excuses. You have a play caller now who people are saying fixed Baker Mayfield and made the Tampa Bay Bucks one of the hottest offenses in the league. You have 2 number 1 wide receivers. Technically, if Travis Hunter comes out and is what Travis Hunter is supposed to be, even he technically only needs to be the number 2. You have several running backs to work with to try and fix this running back room. You pretty much revamped the whole offensive line. I'm still hesitant on it, but the Jags feel like they've revamped the offensive line. You did everything you possibly could to help Trevor surrounding him, and he's heading into year 5 and already got paid. So to me, it would be hard not to pick Trevor because I think that the expectations for him have already always been so high, and I think people had now started to lower those. We're like, okay, well, maybe Trevor's not going to be this elite guy, and we're just asking for 26 touchdowns and less than 10 picks at this point. And if he doesn't hit that, is it a concern for people? And that's a fascinating conversation of what people think that threshold is for actual what they need to see in numbers wise from Trevor this year. But I do think that it'd be hard to not put him. I would not put CJ Stroud in that conversation yet because he had such a good rookie season. We know last year that offensive line was terrible. Tank Dell goes down. And so I do think that if he gets kind of back on track, people will be like, okay, he's heading in the right direction. I don't know if they'd hit the panic button yet. If Trevor gets through the season and he still doesn't make it through another season or has another kind of up and down moments where it's like half good, half bad, whatever, I think people would start to panic a little bit.
And I do think, to your point, which quarterback has the most to prove, it depends on how you define proof.
Right.
Because CJ Stroud hasn't gotten his second contract yet.
Yeah.
If he has a terrible season, and I'm not predicting that, I'm just saying what if, hypothetical, right? If he doesn't have a good season, what does the future hold for him as a franchise quarterback with the Texans? Like if he regresses again, what do they do?
Or
as
even
far
if he has
as,
a Trevor 2024
Sure,
campaign.
what if he
where
gets hurt?
He has those flashes. I mean, people have been
But
searching.
they're not locked in.
They're not
Correct,
locked in.
which is why it makes it shakier for a quarterback like that.
They're not locked in, but what else do they have besides him? So let's hypothetical.
Davis Mills.
They're on the final year of his deal, I believe. RJ, actually, you know what? Let's imagine here for a second because I know that this is a fantasy for many, many Heeligans out there.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
Yes, we love our friends at Closets by Design. We love to imagine around here a world in which CJ Stroud, the quarterback for the Houston Texans, does regress. But by the word regress, what I mean is imagine if CJ Stroud has a season similar to Trevor Lawrence's 2024 campaign. Yes, he would not have been paid handsomely just yet, or at the very least have a contract committed to him since Trevor actually hasn't even started the clock on that 5-year extension just yet. But what if CJ Stroud has flashes in the opener just like Trevor did against Miami? Ultimately, the team crumbles around him. What if he has a performance like Trevor Lawrence did against the Green Bay Packers, but God forbid Nico Collins then, much like Christian Kirk, goes down for the season? And then CJ Stroud himself gets so banged up, and one thing leads to another. What if the Texans win more than the 4 games the Jaguars did in 2024? Let's say they win 7, but Stroud only plays in 9 games. If you are the Texans, you saw enough. You saw the flashes. You certainly saw that rookie campaign to say, maybe we should get ahead of it. Maybe we should pay him now as opposed to having him play on the 4th year of a 4-year rookie contract with the 5th-year option. And then we make the decision. In that scenario, you could make the argument, well, but look at the flashes before he got hurt. We should pay him. I would say he's not on the hot seat then. And so that's where I think the Texans are in a very interesting scenario, much like the Jaguars were 2 years ago. And it's not to say, hey, this is going to be a world in which undoubtedly CJ Stroud is going to be the best quarterback in the AFC South. Undoubtedly, this is going to work out because I do think there's still questions there to address that go beyond the actual quarterback play.
So by regressing, CJ Stroud, his rookie season, 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 picks. A rookie season unlike maybe other than Jaden Daniels we've almost never seen. His sophomore season, 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. It's not like that's bad by any means. So, yeah, I just wanted to present the argument, what if CJ Stroud doesn't have a good year? But I think the answer is between Anthony Richardson and Trevor Lawrence. And I would have predicted, by the way, now that we've done this show for over a year together, I would have predicted Mia would have picked Anthony Richardson, and I, of course, would have predicted Taylor would say Trevor Lawrence. Look, Anthony Richardson's performance has to be enough to get another season. That's a totally different level than what Trevor needs. to me, more than Trevor Lawrence's stats for this upcoming season, what's so important, and health for sure, showing that he understands situations in football. That situational master, like that to me is the biggest step of knowing what he's going to be moving forward. Because that to me is one of the biggest questions that I've had. It's not the accuracy.
Yeah.
Can he improve on that? Sure. The footwork and the system will help that. The weapons for sure. It's understanding exactly how important this down is. And that's not turning it over. It's also understanding what not to do as far as throwing the ball away in certain situations, letting time off the clock. Like, I need to see that out of him.
I think the durability is the other big question.
Yeah.
Because the best ability is availability, Doug Marrone. And I think Trevor has that same question that's going to be placed upon him.
Is it Trevor's fault, though? Like, I don't think that outside of a couple instances where maybe he was running with the football when he got hurt, but other times he's getting pulverized.
Is it
I
anybody's
don't
fault?
think usually it's people's fault.
Right.
Like, if you're one of the
if you hold the ball too long.
Yeah, and like, there's circumstances where you did something like you hold the ball too long, or you run straight into head down into somebody and you get a concussion and things like that. But I do think for the most part it's tackle football, and so you're going to get hit. And now it's back-to-back years where you've missed a good amount of time, and it's been at the end of the season when your team has needed you the most. And so if that happens again, it will be a big conversation that's going to have to be had.
Yeah, like Tua Tagovailoa, I would say it's more on it has been more on him than the offensive line when he's been injured. With Trevor, yeah, like you said, you can look at every circumstance, but clearly this most recent time when he was already playing with a bit of a shoulder injury and he got the concussion, like you could make the argument, well, that's football. You know, Azeez Al-Shire didn't intend to hit him, and other people would argue that he did. But anytime you're a quarterback and you take off with the ball, like you have the option of getting hit, or you have the
You're a runner.
opportunity of getting hit. Right, exactly.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.